She washed clothes for his family. She cooked with firewood. She waited for 7 whole long years. He promised to marry her when he returned from abroad. But when he came back with her best friend as his wife. This is not just a love story, it is a story of sacrifice, betrayal, patience, and karma. If you have ever waited for someone, if you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, then this story is for you. Watch till the end because the ending will shock you. Welcome to Olu Beauty African Folktales channel. Here we tell you the way it is. Have you subscribed? If not, oh yeah, run kitty kitty, run kata kata. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Share it with your families and friends. And don't forget to touch the bell button so that you'll be notified each time we put out new video. Oh yeah, grab your popcorn, sit jaja, and enjoy yourself. Oh yeah, let's go there. In a quiet town called Omaya in Abia State, lived a beautiful young lady named Ifnanya Ukuri. People in the community called her Adoma because of her calm nature, humility, and natural beauty. She was not just beautiful in face, but beautiful in heart. Ifnanya grew up in a poor family. Her father was late, and her mother sold gari and palm oil in the local market to train her and her younger siblings. Some days she returned home with empty hands. Other days she cried quietly at night, asking God how tomorrow would be. If Nanya was her first child, from a young age, If Nanya became like a second mother in the house, cooking, helping her siblings with homework, and supporting her mother emotionally. Life was not easy, but if Nanya never complained, she believed that one day God would change her story. That hope came in the form of a handsome young man named Chibuzo Nwankwo. Chibuzo was tall, fair, and well spoken. He was known in Umuahia as a responsible young man. His father was late too, and his mother, Mama Chibuzo, struggled to raise her children. Chibuzo and Ifnanya met during a church youth program. Friendship grew into love, and soon everyone knew they were dating. Chibuzo promised Ifnanya heaven and earth, and he said, Ifnanya, my love, you are the woman I will marry, even if it takes time. Wait for me, he would say, holding her hands tightly. She believed him with her whole heart. When Ifnanya introduced Chibuzo Nwankwo to her family, Mama Grace, her mother, was happy but cautious, and she said, My daughter, love is good though, but don't kill yourself for any man. Promise is not marriage oh. Ifnanya smiled and replied and said, Mama, Chibuzo is different though. He loves me. Her younger brother once joked and said, Auntie, make sure this man doesn't waste your time oh. They laughed, but Mama Grace's heart was not fully at rest. After 2 years of dating, an opportunity came for Chibuzo to travel to Germany through an agent. The plan was for him to work, make money, and come back to marry Ifnanya properly. Before he left, he called her to his family house and said, My love, Ifnanya, my mother is now your mother. Take care of her for me. When I come back, you will enter this house as my wife, he said confidently. Ifnanya cried that day, not because she was sad, but because she felt chosen. Little did she know that sacrifice was waiting for her. When that day came, Ifnanya's family gathered to pray for him. Mama Grace cooked her best soup that day. Before Chibuzo left, Mama Grace pulled him aside and said, My son, she said firmly, my daughter Ifnanya is not rich, but she is good. If you are not sure, let her go now, please. Chibuzo bowed his head and answered confidently and said, Mama, I will marry her. God is my witness. I love your daughter so much. That promise entered Mama Grace's heart like fire. From that day, Ifnanya's family supported her waiting. For 7 solid years, Ifnanya became like a wife without a ring. She woke up before 5 a.m. every day to fetch water from the stream. She cooked with firewood, her eyes red from smoke. She washed clothes for Mama Chibuzo and Chibuzo's younger siblings with her bare hands. She followed Mama Chibuzo to the farm. She even used her small tailoring business money to contribute to family needs. When people mocked her, she smiled and they said, "She is cooking for another woman's husband." They laughed. But if Nanya always replied them and said, "I am investing in my future." Whenever if Nanya used her own money to help Chibuzo's family, her mother complained and she said, "You don't even have husband yet, but you are suffering like married woman." But if Nanya would replied and said, "Mama, you worry too much. Don't worry. When he comes back, it will be worth it. Okay?" Sometimes her siblings quarreled with her and they said, "You are washing another family's clothes while we manage here." Her sister cried one day. Still, if Nanya waited. Over the years, if Nanya changed, her hands became rough, her body became thinner, her smile became tired. Mama Grace, her mother, noticed. At night, she would pray silently and said, "God, please don't let my daughter cry tears of regrets." But if Nanya defended Chibuzo every time, and she said, "He is struggling abroad. Life is hard over there." The calls reduced, the messages became dry. Mama Grace warned her daughter again, and she said, 7 years is long. Oh. Even the Bible says waiting has limits." But if Nanya answered with tears and said, "Mama, if I leave now, all my sacrifices will be wasted." That sentence broke Mama Grace's heart. If Nanya has a best friend whose name was Amaka Eze, Amaka Eze was beautiful too, but very different. She loved fine things, makeup, and attention, while if Nanya was enduring suffering, Amaka believed suffering was for fools. Yet, she always encouraged Ifnanya and she said, "My friend Ifi, don't worry. Chibuzo will surely marry you." She would say, smiling, but behind that smile was something dark. When Chibuzo started sending money home, Amaka offered to help, go to the market. Slowly, she became close, too close to the family. She started chatting with Chibuzo on behalf of Ifnanya. At first, it was innocent. Later, it was not. Mrs. Eunice, Mama Chibuzo, was a churchwoman by mouth, but her heart loved comfort. She enjoyed Ifnanya's free labor and never stopped her. When neighbors said, "Why is this girl suffering like this?" Mama Chibuzo would reply and said, "She's my future daughter-in-law now. What do you expect?" Yet, when money started coming from abroad, her attitude changed. She began listening more to Amaka Eze, Ifnanya's best friend. Amaka dressed well. Amaka spoke big grammar. Amaka understood city life. Slowly, Mrs. Eunice preferred Amaka to Ifnanya. After 7 whole years, the news spread like wildfire. The whole village prepared. If Nanya's heart could not contain her joy, she borrowed money to buy a new dress. She even roasted chicken for the family. She imagined him kneeling down, proposing properly, thanking her for waiting. But what she saw shattered her soul. When Chibuzo returned after 7 years, if Nanya's family followed her to welcome him, Her mother, Mama Grace, was excited but nervous when they arrived and saw Amaka standing beside Chibuzo, wearing gold ring and smiling proudly. The world stopped. Mama Grace asked quietly, "If Nana, my daughter, what is happening?" she said. Before If Nana could answer, someone shouted and said, "Chibuzo married Amaka abroad now." Mama Grace screamed. Her legs failed her. She sat on the ground and began to cry like a wounded child. And she said, "Oh God, after all my daughter suffered?" Her siblings wanted to fight. One shouted and said, "This is pure wickedness." Another said, "They used my sister and dumped her." Ah! But Chibuzo did not look back. Mrs. Eunice, Mama Chibuzo, stood behind him, silent. That silence was louder than insults. When Ifnanya returned home broken, she locked herself in the room for days. Mama Grace did not shout. She did not say, "I warned you." She only sat beside her daughter, held her hand, and cried with her. "My daughter," she whispered, "you did not lose anything. What left you was not yours, okay?" But deep inside, Mama Grace was angry. Angry at the world, angry at betrayal, angry that goodness suffered while evil smiled. Yet she didn't know that this pain was only the beginning of a greater turning point, because somewhere ahead, Karma was preparing a chair, and the people who laughed last were about to cry hardest. Remember, if Nanya and Amaka became friends many years before Chibuzo traveled, they were not just friends, they were childhood friends, they were church friends, they were school friends and neighbors. They attended the same school, the same church, they shared secrets. If Nanya trusted Amaka with her life, in fact, with her fears, dreams, and plans, Amaka knew everything about Chibuzo, his weaknesses, his struggles, his family problems, through Ifnanya. When Chibuzo traveled abroad, Ifnanya leaned heavily on Amaka emotionally. She cried to her, she prayed with her, she told her, and she said, "If anything happens to me, you are the only person that understands. You know everything about me. You know how much I love this guy." That trust was the door. When Chibuzo got to Germany, life was hard at first. He lived with other Nigerians. He worked many jobs. He felt lonely. He felt pressured to be successful. At the same time, if Nanya was busy suffering at home, Amaka was always available to help her. Amaka started helping Mrs. Eunice, Mama Chibuzo, more often on behalf of Ifnanya. She followed her to the market whenever Ifnanya was too busy with her tailoring work. She helped her send messages to Chibuzo. She learned how to chat online properly. At first, Amaka only messaged Chibuzo on Ifnanya's behalf. Things like, "If Nanya says good morning, oh, she is praying for you, oh. She said you should not worry." Slowly, the messages changed. Then Chibuzo began to open up to Amaka instead of Ifnanya, not because he planned to betray Ifnanya, but because distance weakens discipline. He complained about stress abroad, pressure to succeed, fear of returning home poor. Amaka listened. She encouraged him. She praised him. She told him, "You are trying, oh. Any woman will be lucky to have you." That sentence entered his heart. Meanwhile, if Nanya was always tired, always enduring, always waiting. After some time, Amaka begged Chibuzo to help her to process her papers, that she too would like to travel to abroad. Without informing Ifnanya, Chibuzo helped Amaka process travel papers using connections he made abroad. He justified it in his mind and he said, she will help me settle. After all, she's just a friend. But once Amaka arrived abroad, everything changed. She dressed well. She understood the environment. She motivated him differently. She showed him a life if Nanya had never seen. Marriage abroad happened quietly. No big wedding, no village people, no announcements, just papers, witnesses, convenience, emotion mixed with opportunity. By the time Chibuzo realized what he had done, he had already crossed the line. Instead of returning home to explain, he chose the easier path, finalized the marriage, and faced the consequences later. Amaka was very, very careful. While she was in Germany with Chibuzo, she still called Ifnanya my sister. She still encouraged her to wait. She still prayed with her. What a wicked soul. You know what? Because guilt sometimes hides behind kindness. By the time the truth came out, everything had already been signed, sealed, and returned home. Amaka did not tell anyone in the village that she was traveling abroad. In Umahia, when people travel, they usually do send off parties, church thanksgiving, noise, and announcements. But Amaka avoided all that. She told Ifnanya and others that she was going to Lagos to stay with a cousin and find a better job. That story was easy to believe because many young girls actually leave the village for Lagos. Even if Nanya believed it, if Nanya was not the type to investigate, if Nanya trusted Amaka completely, she was not suspicious. She did not check social media. She did not ask too many questions. Her mind was already full, struggling to survive, taking care of Chibuzo's family and her own family, managing her tailoring business, enduring emotional pain. So when Amaka said, I'm still managing here in Lagos, so we are suffering here too. If Naya never doubted her, communication was controlled. Amaka was very smart. She only called if Nanya at night with normal Nigerian background noise, sometimes complaining about NEPA, and she would say, NEPA has just took light though. Sometimes saying, network is bad here, oh, she never video called. Whenever if Naya suggested video call, Amaka would say, my dear, this my phone is bad though. Camera no dey work oh, the camera don't spoil. Tete. That lie worked for a long time. Chibuzo helped hide it. Chibuzo also avoided mentioning Amaka's presence in Germany. He kept conversations short. He never spoke about his living situation in detail. He avoided questions. Whenever Ifnanya talked about Amaka, Chibuzo acted normal. That double silence protected the secret. Distance and time helped the lie grow. 7 years is a long time. People change, friends drift, calls reduce, trust becomes automatic. Sometimes months passed without Efnanya hearing from Amaka. When she finally did, Amaka would say, oh, sorry, my love. Life has been hard. I've been very, very busy. Work here and there. That explanation always worked. Why if Nanya never heard rumors? Amaka was careful not to connect with people from the same village abroad. She avoided it. She avoided mutual friends, village associations, church groups with Omaya people. So no rumor traveled back home. The village only knew Amaka was in Lagos. When Chibuzo returned, married to Amaka, many things finally connected. The strange silence, the avoidance of video calls, the secrecy, the sudden closeness to Mrs. Eunice, Mama Chibuzo. What looked like coincidence was actually carefully planned silence. So, for many days after the betrayal, if Nanya Okorie was like a shadow in her own home, she stopped eating well, she stopped talking, she stopped caring about how she looked. Sometimes she would sit outside at night, staring into space, replaying the past 7 years in her head. Every pot of soup she cooked with firewood, every cloth she washed till her fingers hot, every insult she swallowed in the name of love. Her mother, Mama Grace, watched her closely. One night, Mama Grace could not hold it anymore. She sat beside Ifnanya and said softly, "My daughter, cry out, cry it. Don't kill yourself in silence." That was when Ifnanya broke down completely. She cried like a child. She screamed. She shook and she said, "I wasted my youth, Mama. I defended him against everyone. I choose him over my life. Mama, I choose him over myself, Mama." Mama Grace held her tightly and replied and said, "No, my daughter, you did not waste anything. You planted seeds, but some seeds grew in another season, okay?" Those words stayed with Ifnanya. In the village, people talked. Some pitied her, some mocked her. 7 years for nothing, some women whispered. See her mess getting married. Others said. Worst of all was seeing Amaka and Chibuzo moving freely, acting like nothing happened. Amaka avoided eye contact whenever they crossed paths. Chibuzo walked with pride, pretending guilt did not exist. But deep inside, Ifnanya was changing. Pain was no longer just pain, it was becoming fuel. One afternoon, while Ifnanya was sewing in her small tailoring shop, a woman stopped in front of her. The woman was well dressed, confident, and calm. "Are you Ifnanya Okorie?" she asked. "Yes, ma," Ifnanya replied, confused. "My name is Mrs. Lizzie Daniel. I came from Aba. Someone told me about your work." Ifnanya was surprised. She had never met the woman before. Mrs. Daniel sat down and watched her sew quietly. After some minutes, she said something that shook Ifnanya. "I heard what happened to you, and I also heard how faithful and hardworking you were." If Nanya's hands shook, Mrs. Daniel continued and said, "Pain does not mean punishment, my dear. Sometimes it means redirection." That sentence pierced If Nanya's heart. Mrs. Daniel owned a fashion business in Aba. She needed someone honest and skilled. "I want to help you," she said, "but not because I pity you, because I see strength in you." If Nanya hesitated, leaving the village felt like accepting defeat. But her mother, Mama Grace, encouraged her that night and she said, "Go, my daughter," she said firmly. "If you stay here, they will bury your destiny with gossip. Go, my daughter, go." After prayers and tears, Ifnanya packed her bags. For the first time in years, she was choosing herself. While Ifnanya was leaving Omaya quietly, trouble had already started knocking elsewhere. In Germany, Chibuzo's life was no longer sweet. The same connections that helped him began to disappear. Work became unstable. Papers became complicated, and Amaka began to change. The same woman who once smiled sweetly started complaining. "You are not the man I thought you were," she told him one night. "Other men are doing better." Chibuzo began to feel something strange. Regret. He remembered Ifnanya's patience, her loyalty, her silence. And for the first time in 7 years, his heart asked him a question he could not answer. And he said, "What if I made the wrong choice?" But karma does not rush, it works slowly, so everyone can feel every step. Life in Aba was not easy at first for Ifnanya Ukurie, but it was different. For the first time in many years, nobody reminded her of betrayal. Nobody pointed fingers at her. Nobody whispered behind her back. She stayed in a small room behind Mrs. Daniel Lizzie's fashion shop. The room was small, but it gave her peace. Every morning, if Nanya woke up early, cleaned the shop, and worked till evening. She learned new designs, new measurements, and new ways to speak confidently with customers. Mrs. Daniel watched her closely. One evening, she asked her and said, "If Nanya, why did you endure so much for someone who never married you?" If Nanya answered softly and said, "Because I believed love meant sacrifice." Mrs. Daniel nodded and said, "Love is sacrifice, yes, but not slavery, okay?" Those words changed something in Ifnanya's mind. Months passed. Ifnanya's hands became faster and more skilled. Customers began to ask for her by name. "Where is that quiet girl?" they would ask. "The one with neat finishing." Slowly, confidence returned. She started smiling again. At night, she prayed, not crying prayers anymore, but thankful prayers. Back in the village, her mother, Mama Grace, noticed the change too. If Nanya now sent money home, she called often. Her voice sounded stronger. The same people who mocked her began to ask questions, and they said, "Is your daughter married now? What work is she doing in Aba?" Mama Grace only smiled and said, "She is working on herself." In Germany, Chibuzo's life continued to shake. His job reduced his hours. His papers were delayed. Bills piled up. Worst of all, his marriage was no longer peaceful. Amaka had changed completely. She compared him with other men. She complained about money. She insulted his struggles. "This is not the life you promised me," oh," she shouted one night. Chibuzo sat quietly, his head in his hands. That night, he dreamt of Ifnanya for the first time in years. She was smiling, walking away. He woke up sweating. One afternoon in Aba, while Ifnanya was walking, her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. "Hello," Ifnanya said. Silence. Then a familiar voice. "Ifnanya, it's me, oh." Her heart skipped. It was Chibuzo. She did not reply immediately. "I just wanted to check on you," he said nervously. "I heard you left Omaya, Abi." Ifnanya finally spoke and said, "I'm fine," she said calmly. No anger, no crying. That calmness scared him. I made mistakes," he added quickly. But Ifnanya ended the call. She sat quietly for a long time, breathing deeply. That call did not weaken her. It confirmed something. She had healed more than she realized. That evening, Mrs. Daniel smiled at her. "You look lighter today," she said. Ifnanya nodded and said, "For the first time, I feel free." But destiny was not done with her yet, because soon another door was about to open, one that would test her heart, her forgiveness, and her future. And somewhere else, Karma was preparing its final lesson. Life began to speak differently to Ifnanya Ukuri. One morning in Aba, Mrs. Daniel called her into the office. "Ifnanya," she said, smiling, "I have been watching you for months. You are honest, hardworking, and consistent. I want to open a second shop, and I want you to manage it for me." Ifnanya froze. "Me?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Yes, you," Mrs. Daniel replied. "Pain trained you, discipline refined you," she told her. Tears filled Ifnanya's eyes, but this time they were not tears of sorrow, they were tears of answered prayers. Managing the new shop was not easy. Ifnanya now handled customers, managed workers, took measurements, balanced accounts. At night, she felt tired but fulfilled. She was no longer surviving, she was building. Mama Grace, her mother, noticed the change clearly and she said, "My daughter," she said on the phone one night, "your voice sounds like someone who has found herself." If Nanya smiled, "Yes, Mama, I finally see myself again. No, thank God." In Omahia, news began to spread quietly. "Have you heard?" they said. "That girl Ifnanya is doing well in Aba now, oh." Some people were surprised, some were jealous, and some felt ashamed for mocking her. One day, Mama Grace ran into Mama Chibuzo, Mrs. Eunice, at the market. Their eyes met. For a moment, Mrs. Eunice looked away. Then she spoke softly and said, "Your daughter, I hear she is doing well." Mama Grace answered calmly and said, "God is faithful, my dear. Nothing more, nothing less." But those words burned. Abroad, the marriage between Chibuzo and Amaka was cracking. Many issues increased. Arguments became daily. Amaka began to complain openly. "I left Nigeria for this. You made promises you can't keep." Chibuzo felt trapped. He remembered how Ifnanya endured without complaint, how she stayed when nothing was guaranteed. One night, during a heated argument, Amaka shouted and said, "If you like, go and meet that village girl you dumped. I don't care." The room went silent. That was when Chibuzo knew he had lost gold and chosen glitter. Months later, Mrs. Daniel sent Ifnanya to Umuahia to take measurements for a client. Ifnanya hesitated. Returning felt scary, but she went. As she walked through familiar streets, memories rushed back. Then it happened. She saw Amaka. Their eyes met. Amaka froze. For the first time, the confidence disappeared from her face. Ifnanya stood tall. No anger, no insults, just quiet dignity. Amaka swallowed hard and said, "Hi," she said weakly. Ifnanya nodded politely and said, "Hello," and she walked away. That single moment did what words could not do. That night, Amaka cried. Chibuzo watched her silently. And for the first time, he asked himself, why does peace follow the woman I hurt while trouble follows me everywhere? But answers were still loading because destiny was rearranging one final intersection. A moment where truth, regret, growth, and choice would collide. And when it happens, everyone will be forced to face who they really are. The days after Ifnanya's visit to Umuahia were quiet but heavy. She returned to Aba with mixed feelings. Seeing Amaka again did not reopen her wounds, but it reminded her how far she had come. She no longer needed answers. She no longer needed closure. Life was answering for her. One Saturday afternoon, a man walked into the fashion shop. He was calm and spoke politely. His name was Emeka Nnadi. He had come to make outfits for an upcoming business event. While taking his measurements, he noticed something different about Efnanya. "You work with so much focus," he said casually. "It's rare." Efnanya smiled politely and continued working. Over the next few weeks, Emeka returned often, sometimes for fittings, sometimes just to check on his clothes. He never crossed boundaries. He never asked personal questions, but he watched her with respect. One evening, Mama Grace called Ifnanya with a worried voice and she said, "My daughter, Chibuzo's mother came to see me today." Oh." Ifnanya paused. "What did she want?" "She was asking about you, saying you are a good girl, saying mistakes were made. Can you imagine?" If Nanya closed her eyes slowly, no anger rose, no excitement either, just clarity. "Don't worry, Mama," she said gently. "Some doors close, so we don't go back inside," she told her mother. In Germany, things finally exploded. Chibuzo lost his job completely. Bills piled up. Rent was due. Arguments turned into insults. Amaka blamed him for everything. "You dragged me into suffering," she shouted. "You wasted my time." Chibuzo stared at her in disbelief. The same woman who once called him her destiny now called him her mistake. That night, he slept outside, and for the first time, he admitted the truth to himself. He did not lose Ifnanya because of distance. He lost her because of choice. Weeks later, Ifnanya's phone rang again. She almost didn't pick it, but she did. It was Chibuzo. I am sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I know, sorry won't change anything, but I needed to say it. If Nana listened quietly, after a long silence, she replied and said, I forgive you, Chibuzo. Those words shook him, but forgiveness, she added, does not mean return, okay? And she ended the call. That night, she slept peacefully. The next day, Emeka came by the shop again. As if Nanya handed him his finished outfit, he said, I don't know your past, but I know strength when I see it. Can I take you out for coffee sometime? If Nanya hesitated, not because she was afraid, not because she was finally careful with her heart. I will think about it, she said honestly. Emeka smiled. That's enough, he said. As he left, if Nanya felt something unfamiliar, yet gentle. Hope. Not rushed, not forced, not desperate, just hope. Life has a way of speaking when people refuse to listen. For if Nanya Okorie, life had finally become quiet in a good way. She accepted Emeka Nadi's invitation for coffee, not because she was desperate for love, but because she was healed enough to try again. Emeka was patient. He never rushed her. He never compared her past. When she finally told him her story, he listened without interrupting. After she finished, Emeka said something she would never forget. Any woman who can survive that and still love honestly is not weak, my dear. She is rare. That was the first time if Nanya cried in front of a man without pain. Within 2 years, if Nanya's life changed completely, with Mrs. Daniel's support and Emeka's encouragement, she opened her own fashion house in Aba. Her designs became popular. Customers traveled from different cities just to sew from her. She employed young girls, especially those who had been betrayed, abandoned, or mocked. She paid them well. She trained them patiently. Mama Grace, her mother, could hardly believe it. My daughter, she said one day with tears in her eyes, the same people who laughed at you now mentioned your name with respect. It can only be God, though. Hey, if Nanya only smiled and said, God fought for me quietly. Meanwhile, Chibuzo and Amaka's marriage finally collapsed. After losing his job, Chibuzo was deported back to Nigeria. Amaka refused to return with him. When she eventually did, she came back angry, bitter, and empty handed. The same village that once admired her now whispered. The same friends she betrayed avoided her. Worst of all, Mrs. Eunice, Mama Chibuzo, fell ill. When the family needed help, they remembered the woman they chased away, Ifnanya, but pride held them back. One afternoon, Ifnanya returned to Umuahia for a church thanksgiving. As she stepped out of her car, the crowd murmured. That was when Chibuzo saw her. She looked peaceful, successful, whole. He walked toward her slowly and he said, If Nanya, he said quietly, she turned. Yes, can I help you? I was wrong, he said, tears in his eyes. I lost the best thing God gave me. If Nanya looked at him with compassion, not love. You didn't lose me, she replied. You gave me away to my destiny. She greeted him politely and walked past him. That moment broke him more than insults ever could. That same evening, Amaka came to see Ifnanya privately. She cried. I was jealous, she confessed. You had patience, peace, and depth. I wanted what you had without paying the price. Ifnanya listened. Then she said, what you took was not my future, it was my lesson. She forgave Amaka not to excuse her, but to free herself completely. Months later, Emeka proposed to Ifnanya quietly. No noise, no pressure, just love. Their wedding was simple but beautiful. Mama Grace danced like a child. Tears of joy replaced years of fear. As if Nanya stood beside Emeka, she realized something powerful. Waiting did not ruin her life. Wrong waiting did. Lesson to learn from this story. Not everyone who stays deserves you. Sacrifice without wisdom leads to loss. Betrayal may win short term, but character wins forever. Karma does not shout, it shows results. If Nanya did not win because she suffered, she won because she did not allow suffering to make her bitter, and that was her greatest victory. In conclusion, this story is more than entertainment. It is a reminder that God sees everything. If Nanya waited, suffered, and trusted with pure heart, she was betrayed, mocked, and abandoned. Yet, God did not forget her. The Bible says in Psalm 34:19, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. Sometimes God allows betrayal not to destroy us, but to remove us from places we would have died slowly. If Nanya did not lose when Chibuzo walked away, she was released. She did not win because she endured pain. She won because she refused to become bitter, hurtful, or wicked like those who hurt her. Remember this: waiting is not wrong. Waiting without wisdom is. Love should never turn you into a slave. Sacrifice should never erase your identity. God's timing is not slow. He is never late. He simply refuses to bless us in the wrong places. If you are watching this and your heart is heavy, if you have been faithful and still hurt, if people used your kindness and walked away, take courage. The same God who lifted Ifnanya is watching you. Your tears are not wasted. Your prayers are not ignored. Your season will change. And when it does, those who doubted you will see that God never loses his own. Stay faithful, stay wise, stay hopeful, because what God removes is never your destiny, and what he preserves is always greater than what you lost. You don't lose when people walk away. You lose only when you follow them. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Someone out there needs this message today. Thank you for watching. This is where our story ends. Please like this video. It helps this story reach more people. Comment below. What would you have done if you were If Nanya? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next powerful story. Share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. God bless you all for watching. Thank you once again. Love you. Bye bye. Mwah.